Jack is back. More on that later. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kirk at AFCB Gary Neville, and this is our latest show in the Gaffers Press Review. What a day. Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Please make sure you comment throughout the show. Let us know what you think. We're going to be talking lots about JT's press conference, Jack Whilshere, Jeff Lerma, a little bit about our opposition, and then we're going to attempt to see what team will go out tomorrow. To help me on this, tonight I have a special guest. I have a Talking Cherries founder and big AFC Bournemouth fan, Simon Kay.
Hello, that's my magic hat. That's the best I can do.
How are you, Simon?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Had a good day?
All made the merrier by Jack coming back.
And we will discuss that in more detail. But firstly, Simon, thanks for joining me. And just give us an update on how Talking Cherries are going and maybe what's coming up soon.
Talking Cherries is great. Obviously, we've got a fantastic group of fans that have got involved in the project. Obviously, it's there to support mental health for fans. It's run by fans for the fans. We talk football. Hopefully, when we get back to the stadium, we can have our events where we'll get together. And most of the things we do is all about football. But we have a wonderful team of fans. Some of them are now trained in mental health first aid, including Sammy, who you know, and Damien and various others. So check us out. We're on social media. We're talking. Keep talking yourselves and reach out if ever you need us. More to come from us when we can get back together.
Brilliant. And in the description, you will actually find all the details to Talking Cherries, Twitter, website, and Zoom information as well, which is coming up on the 25th, I believe, Simon.
That's the next one, yeah. So I was going to have some coffee. Cheers.
There you go for it. So we want to keep this session really positive with such a great day that we've had. But as we normally do on this show, we're just going to briefly look back at the weekend and Luton. What went wrong, Simon?
Well, a small matter of a red card went wrong. And I would say that on the whole, the performance was okay. We didn't do a lot wrong. We were playing all right. And I think if we had 11 men, we would have won that game. No doubt about it. There was enough about us. We were creating enough chances. There were the usual frustrations, but keeping it positive, I was happy on the whole with the performance, red card aside.
Yeah. And like JT said today, you're going to have blips in the season and you've got to stick together. And maybe this is the bump in the road potentially. So earlier on today, JT gave his press conference a lot more involved than normal. And we can't not talk about Jack Whilshere. It got over the line. He signed today and he's fit and he's past the deadline to actually start tomorrow. How did you feel when that news came in?
I was ecstatic, really. I mean, I was so happy because there's been many times that, you know, whether it's been on back of the net after games or that speed of transition between the lines and something that I felt that we're missing. And Jack's the perfect player to do that. To be honest, I wasn't expecting him fully to sign. I thought something else might have come up where someone might have come in before the end of the window, but he's obviously comfortable. He's obviously happy with the pay packet, and it's an opportunity for him to progress his career again, and hopefully he stays fit and does the business for us.
I think we all know that JT was trying to get a deal in some way or another. Do you think the performances against Millwall and Luton enhanced that, or it got pushed a little bit further that we had to get that deal done?
I think there's a lot of things. I think in recent games we've struggled to score the numbers of goals that we were scoring. Some of that could be to do with Danjuma. And also I think his hand might have been pushed by Stan's injury, because obviously we don't know how long he's going to be out for. It could be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, who knows? You know, Junior's very unlucky when it comes to, you know, his injury record. So I think it's a combination of things, not just those two games, and also that ability to find a pass in that part of the field very quickly is something that Jack's always been talented at.
So at 29 years old, and in the first time that he signed for us, he didn't score any goals and gave us 2 assists, although he played 27 matches. Now, on paper, you'd think that he didn't offer a lot, but in that season was our best ever finish of 9th in the league. He did offer a lot more than it looks on paper, surely.
Absolutely. I don't want to be negative, but that season was a bit, competitive at the bottom of the league, wasn't it? Or in the bottom half. We did great to finish 9th, but I think there were a lot of teams, weren't there, that were really close on points. But in the games when Jack played, there was no denying what he gave to the team. And you could see it, the fluidity, the connected play. Sometimes I used to watch him and think he's not playing in the position that I'd like to see him play in, because we had that kind of quite rigid formation. But it was good enough. It was fluid. It worked. And I can't wait to see him play in whichever role he ends up playing. Might be a number 8. We'll talk about that later on as we try and squeeze him into the team.
Absolutely. And for me, he just needs to start enjoying his football. That's what I said before. He's getting to a sort of a pivotal part of his career where maybe money's not the most important thing anymore, and just playing football and enjoying himself again. And I think he can do that at Bournemouth. I've always said that. And I really I think he'll make a difference, and I think that he'll get what he wants out of it as well. Also, just to let you know, if you were to buy a shirt now at AFC Bournemouth, you actually get free printing of Jack Whilshere. And I actually caught my missus ordering me a shirt for my birthday. So that put a massive smile on my face. However, she has said, Simon, I have to wait until the 21st of February before I can actually touch it.
Really? I just hope she spelt it right, unlike your side.
Yeah, there's we won't talk about the preparations behind the scenes, but let's just hope Bournemouth get it right. The good news kept coming. Jeff Lerma's red card got rescinded. Great news.
Absolutely. Well, I think there was someone on Twitter with a conspiracy theory that the FA would come up with some ridiculous reason for it not to be rescinded. But, what a ridiculous decision it was. I don't think we need to go into a great amount of detail that it was never not going to be rescinded. And
do you know what? I think we criticise a lot, and especially in the Premier League, when they do make a decision that everyone else sees is wrong, but for some reason the authorities and the referees still stick with that decision for whatever reason. I think it's good to see that actually they've gone against their official to overturn it, and done it, like everyone else would have done.
Yeah, and I think what always helps, I remember, I think Chris Temple during the commentary was asking other people around him, about whether that was a non-partisan, ridiculous red card. And I think when you get 95% of the media outside of the odd Luton media person who was always going to say it was a red card, I think they've got to overturn it, haven't they?
So in other news, JT was asked about Danjuma again. I think this is probably the 3rd or 4th game where he said he's very close. Is he close? Will we see him tomorrow night potentially?
I hope so. He'll be in the squad, I think. Whether or not he'll start remains to be seen. I think he has a great record as an impact sub so far this season. In some games, he's offered more off the bench than he probably has in some of his starts. Not all the time, but in some. And I think if you're coming back from an injury like he is, you want to make sure that you don't put him in too quickly. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't want him in straight away.
And just finally, with maybe some players struggling for form, surely Jack Whilshere will give the team a lift and the players a lift, and seeing him potentially in that starting team tomorrow. I mean, why would you not want to perform at your highest level when you're in a squad like that with a player like that?
Well, if you can't play, the best of your ability when you've got someone like that joining your team, and he's fit and he's raring to go and he's hungry. And that was one of the biggest things that came through in his interview today, was that he's clearly hungry to achieve something. And that's not that he hasn't achieved a lot. Well, he hasn't achieved a lot when it comes to, championships, silverware, etc. And that's nothing against him. I think it's great for him to come in at this point with a desire to want to achieve something, and I hope he can do that with us.
Definitely. Right, let's look at our opposition. So Derby, 3rd from bottom, worst goal scorers in the league. We win tomorrow, don't we, Simon?
Bournemouth fans, been here many times before. Yes is the short answer. Will we make easy work of it? Probably not. But I would go for a win. I mean, they're one of those teams, having watched them a bit, to be fair, they haven't played many good games. You can't say that they've had amazing performances pretty much against anybody, hence where they are. I just hope that a team like Derby, if we turn up and Jack plays and we play to the best of our ability, of course we win. If we turn up slightly lackadaisical and, as we know, not fully on it, or something doesn't click, or you get a dodgy red card after 25 minutes, we'll win.
And now fully managed by Wayne Rooney, confirmed in post. And if you look at their coaching staff, I think Liam Rossini has been confirmed as an assistant manager. He's got experience, and Shay Given as well. I mean, there's enough ex-Premier League, quality there from a knowledgeable point of view. You've got to think they'll be able to set Derby up in a way to try and do something.
Yeah, and I think for them, obviously, has their takeover gone through yet? Have they got new money, or are they still selling any asset they can just to make things meet?
Not sure, but I think I did hear that they were close. But when I look at that backroom staff, I mean, there's a lot of experience in there.
Yeah, they might want to chuck them on the pitch tomorrow night if they could. But they can't.
So I wouldn't do a show without throwing some stats around, would I, Simon?
No, you wouldn't.
So
you are Gary Neville. So
absolutely. So now you've just given me your thoughts on what you think might happen tomorrow, and I'll throw these stats at you and see if it changes. Derby have had 4 wins, 3 away from home. They've beaten Norwich and Swansea, both this season. They've conceded only 5 goals since November the 28th, and all of those goals have come in the second half. That is madness.
I don't know what to make of that. I mean, when they played down here, they were organised. I'll give them that. And we did struggle to break them down a bit. What, are you going for a 0-0 then?
No, it's just for a team that's sitting third from bottom and they don't score a lot of goals because they're the worst goal scorers in the league, but conceding only 5. And when we've looked at our performances recently, I mean, credit, we probably don't play at a high enough tempo early on in games. But teams are asking us to break them down, and they look like a team that are going to do that again.
Yeah. So we've got to do the business, and we've got to turn up, and we've got to be fast. And that's why if Dan's around and he's fit enough, I want him to start as well. I want a lot of players to start. We'll have to get to that shortly. But
yeah,
anyways, I still think we've got enough to win. But as I say, like a lot of these games, we have to turn up and we have to do our business and not think about them.
Lots of chat going on at the moment. Really appreciate it. Loving some of the comments. And what we're going to do now, Simon, at this part of the show is we try and predict what JT is going to start with tomorrow. Do you know what? The day we've had, I'm going to flip that on its head, right? I've seen all over Twitter all over the weekend that people are going, shouldn't be a 3, shouldn't be a back 4, 1 up top, 2 up top. I want to know now from an AFC Bournemouth fan what you would pick tomorrow with a fit Jack Whilshere and potentially Danjuma. Okay, so let's see what you'll go with, and then we'll see how JT compares tomorrow. All right. So off air, we talked about formations, and you told me that you were going for a 4-2-3-1. So yeah, we set that up already. And do you want to talk me through that thinking?
The main thinking behind this formation is based on the players that we have in the squad and the fluidity of that formation. But also, against a team like Derby, falling back into a 5 in midfield will be necessary from time to time. But having the speed of transition to get the ball up the pitch very quickly will be necessary as well. So that's why I've gone for this. Also, the playing 4 and the 2 players that I'll pick, one of which, thanks to Paul Hoff on the Talking Cherries call the other day, I've changed at left back, gives them the ability to bomb on a bit more. And I think that's something that we also need. So I've gone full attacking intent, but with defensive integrity, if such a thing exists. Like
it. What I normally do, because I think you're not going to change my mind, is I stick Begovic in there, man of the match again at the weekend.
Yep.
You happy with that?
Absolutely. The rest of the team's Jack Whilshere.
Okay. I normally go to the right, so I'm not going to change what I've done previously. Let's go right back.
Jack Stacey.
How did you think he performed on his return to Championship football at the
Brilliant.
weekend?
And the thing I love about Jack is his energy. And again, as was discussed in our Talking Cherries call the other day, we were talking about how, Charlie Daniels and Simon Francis used to bum up the wings, and the changeover plays and the understanding that they had. And Stacey really reminds me of Frano in his prime. He gets up, but he gets back. And that's really important. And that's probably the biggest thing about him. You'll see him in the front third of the pitch, but you'll see him back where he needs to be as well.
And I think we've got to appreciate he might not get back to the heights he was before the injury. But fortunately, that injury didn't turn out to be a big one. So he's definitely going to play a massive part in our season. Your two centre-backs playing alongside Stacey.
So that's going to be Carter Vickers and Steve Cook. Meth's obviously not quite fit by the sound of it. So they're the two centre-backs.
And why no Lloyd Kelly again?
Well, I haven't got to my left-back yet.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Good point. So is Lloyd Kelly left back?
Funny, he is.
Why no Rico this time then?
Well, it's the same reason as to what I said about Stacey, is that Kelly gets up, delivers the ball in very well. Again, thanks to Paul Hoff for his tip on this one, because I was going to actually play Adam Smith here. But I've decided that the counter-attacking ability of Kelly, combined with Stacey's ability to get back, I think Lloyd plays pretty well as a left back, and he gives you that attacking option. And again, he's very fit, not that the other players aren't. I just think it's a better player for this game.
And 5 minutes into the football match, Simon, tomorrow night, Lloyd Kelly's playing left back. How do you feel about him when he's on the ball?
Slightly lackadaisical from time to time, but this is a positive call. So for me, in this kind of formation, it's also what he gives you going forward. And he does give you energy and link-up play. He's an intelligent player when he goes forward. And if we talk about speed of transition, and if Jack is in my team, of course he is, I think that kind of integration will be important.
And Sammy's sitting on the bench. She can't decide between Kelly and Rico, Simon. So,
well, I'll help her out there. If it was a three at the back, I'd probably go with Rico, because he in that position is better, I think, than Kelly. Kelly has his moments in three at the back where he seems a bit, not necessarily sloppy, but a little slow sometimes to get rid of the ball. And I think he won't feel that same level of pressure playing in a four.
Okay, so I seem to think who you might go with for the two holding midfielders, but confirm them for me.
Lewis Cook and Jefferson Lerma.
Brilliant. And maybe, I think Lerma's actually just struggled the last few weeks, but I think maybe having some positive news today might give that fire in the belly for him. And I think we'll get a good game out of him tomorrow, you know?
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Okay, so the three ahead of Cook and Lerma will go for the right side.
We will put in Brooks in there.
How have you felt about Brooks the last few games against Millwall and Luton?
Not as hot as you'd probably have liked. His movement is great. And these three players that are going to be in these three positions, I would be encouraging fluidity and movement between them all. And I think that's what they will give. The number 10 will drop back a bit, but the 11 and the 7 can move around as much as they like. So Brooks's movement's been great. The final ball or the final element of play isn't necessarily always down to him. I think we're a bit clogged up from time to time in this area. And I think that's often testament to the defence of the opposition and our lack of speed in moving the ball through this area.
And a final point on David Brooks. I've always felt quite comfortable that he's going nowhere. With the little bit of interest that's floating around, do you think that could be playing on his mind a bit recently?
Possibly. I mean, if there is genuine interest and his agent really is there in his ear saying that there's an offer coming in from whoever, apparently it's not going to be Villa anymore because I think they pulled out last I heard. Not that I know everything because I don't. But that does play on players' minds. You know, we've had players in the last, 24 months, haven't we, where things have potentially played on their minds and affect performances. But I don't think that's all down to him, to be fair.
Okay, so we move over to the left side of your three.
This will be Danjuma, hoping that he is fit. If he's not fit, then I'm quite happy with him being a cameo sub because he's very good off the bench.
And if he's not fit, is that Josh King again?
Yep.
Okay. Player number 10, who plays between them and just behind the striker?
Oh, well, if only we had a player that could kind of, join up with the midfield and hold on to the ball and take it forward and find a pass. Oh, we've got one now. How about Jack Whilshere?
If I spell that right.
You have this time. Absolutely.
Good stuff. He is just a player I'm hoping we can get on the ball quite a lot. He'll take 3 players out of a game with 1 pass. He has that cutting edge. These types of players don't come around that often. It's a player that other just standard players, there's a pass that they can't see. And I think, and I said it earlier on Twitter, and putting my neck on the line, if he stays fit and Dom plays regularly with him, I think Dom gets 20.
Oh, hello. Says the man. I always said Dom will get to 20, and you always like, nah, he's not a number 9. So it's interesting. So he could become a number 9 with the right creativity behind him. Absolutely so.
And that number 9 up top for tomorrow, is it the man we're talking about?
It absolutely is. Very impressed with his effort all the way through the season.
Great team player. He's probably up there in the top 3 for me of player of the season with Lewis Cook and Asmir Begovic. And he was that close to breaking that stat on Saturday of scoring 2 games in a row. He was so close and it got cleared off the line. And I thought that was it. Looking at that team then, let us know what you think in the comments if you agree or disagree. What are you looking to get from that team tomorrow, Simon? And how close do you think JT will come to that team?
Well, that's my preferred team that I would pick. Will he pick the same? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to work out, really, this season. On the one hand, it's great that we've had this fluidity and this ability to play different formations, but I think that could be our Achilles heel. We need to find something that works, that we feel works for ourselves, that is the best thing that we can put on the pitch. So that's why this team is this, as I've got it. And I think the transit, that there's enough there to come back from those 3 to support the midfield if necessary in a defensive position. I like the 2 bombing on from fullback, and I like the ability to transition between all those players at the front. And I want to see some movement coming up from those fullbacks. I want to see some integration. So if Jack's playing, feed the ball into his feet, half turn, find someone, keep moving at pace. But those 2 fullbacks, the good thing about them on the whole, as we said earlier, is they'll get back. And that's what we'll need to do as well.
And our captain at the weekend after the game, I love Cookie, and I think he's an honest man. He doesn't hide away from it. And he said, they know it's been disappointing. We need to go on a run now. We need to stay with the pack, surely.
We are with the pack. And luckily, after 6th place, there's a small gap. But when you're playing 2 times a week, game after game, it doesn't take long for a lot of things to change. Likewise, it doesn't take much for things to change at the top. Norwich are currently probably going through their purple patch at a time when we're going through our bad one. It will change. Things will change around and they'll have a dodgy run. But there's no doubt about it. We've got to start nailing some of these performances and picking up 3 points, whether that's home or away.
And Heather said, Simon, no Phil Bill.
Well, again, when I was looking at my team, and you often have positions and you have your either ors. Now, if Jeff did have a red card and it wasn't rescinded, then he probably would play Phil Bill in there. I feel slightly sorry for Phil Bill, to be honest, because he, in some games, if you play 3 in midfield and let's say you didn't have Jack available, that position in front of those holding 2 players, he's played in some games really well. Now, whether that was in a 3-5-2 or what, I mean, certainly the game away at Barnsley, he was brilliant. And, had a couple of really good games back to back. So feel a bit sorry for Phil Bill because he's done enough this season to be warranting opportunity. But has he been doing enough to be guaranteed a starting place week in, week out? No, I don't think so.
And some of the fans in the chat are talking about the back four giving us balance. I've seen some chat in there, I think from Steve Hensman, who said that it's his favoured formation, and I think he just wants to see it even once this year, just to see how we can play it. And with Jack Whilshere in there, and if we play it in the right way, like you say, we could destroy teams like we have done this season against Barnsley, Huddersfield, etc.
Yeah, and Jack is that player that will come in, collect the ball, drive forward. And the other thing that he'll give us, which is going to be great, having seen recent refereeing performances, he'll earn us a few fouls, won't he? Because there's nothing worse than a championship level referee not giving Jack Whilshere a foul. They don't want to be the ones that help get him injured, do they now?
So come, so what is it? It's kick off at 6 o'clock. So come, 90 minutes from there. What's your prediction on the score? With the day we've had today and how happy everyone is, do we batter Derby tomorrow?
No, we win 2-1.
2-1. Goal scorers?
I'll go for Dom, and I will go for Steve Cook with a header from a corner.
Fantastic. And again, if you agree with what Simon has gone with on the lineup, again, remember, it's not what he thinks JT will go with. It's what we maybe want to see with the squad we now have in place. Simon, it's great to have you on the show. Great to see you.
Nice to be here. You didn't actually say what your team would be.
I'll put that out tomorrow on the game day.
Okay, cool.
So check out the game day video on YouTube. Go early out early in the morning, and I'll show you my squad lineup.
Brilliant.
But I think I actually say probably it's what JT will go with, but we changed it up obviously for you.
Oh, very nice.
Right.
It's lovely to have you back. Happy days.
Brilliant. Check out the description. Check out Talking Cherries on Twitter. The website information's in the description as well. And I'll catch up with you soon, Simon.
Absolutely. I'll see you on another platform somewhere, and keep talking, everyone. Stay well.
Absolutely. And enjoy the game tomorrow.
I'll try. And you.
Thank you again to everyone for joining us. We've had loads of comments in there. Let's throw some scores out there. So we've got 3-1 away. I want to see some goals tomorrow. I'm going to go for 2-0. And there's another 3-1. Liam thinks 3-1 as well. 1-0. I think we take any score at the moment. We don't need to worry about scoring goals, but there are goals to be had now in this football team if Jack Whilshere starts, which I am looking forward to if he does. Now, make sure you check out more content on YouTube. We've got the lineups live coming up it will come out 45 minutes before kickoff tomorrow, so that'll be 5:15. Game day video, as I said, is going out in the morning, and then I'll get a post reaction video out at some point the next day after the game. Keep subscribing, keep liking. We're nearly a month into this. I think we're over 50 subscribers, and we're trying to set new boundaries as we go. If we can get to 75, that would be amazing. But we keep pushing, bringing more content, more fans on the show. Thank you again. I think that's all to say. Jack is the man. He is back. Enjoy the game tomorrow. That will do it. Up the Cherries.